is up, folks? Welcome to the latest episode of the Harold McBasketball Show. I'm your gracious host, as always, Harold McBasketball, along with my co-host, I Know Ball Paul, Sean Mack here for another in-person episode. Plot twist, I'm still here. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, why are you still here? I thought you were going back home in a few days.
We just love the IRL podcast so much that I've decided to fly out every week to attend in person. The ad revenue's been crazy recently, so the private jet is always lined up down my backyard, and we make these plays every weekend now.
Yep. Yeah, we definitely didn't record back-to-back episodes, and we have a private jet. So we're doing awards. Sean, is there something you'd like to say?
No. I'm being an unofficial member. Unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of the profits from the show, so I'll probably end up walking back to Natick.
Whoa, we cut you a check.
Yeah, you can take a cab with that money.
Yeah, we'll have a conversation offline with the finance team. There's definitely some X's and O's need to be looked at.
Yeah, it's like our interns can only make so much, so it's like
what is it called? You're a contractor, or what? You know what I mean? It's not. You're not an official employee, but anyway, award show. Way too early. Award show. It's always fun when we do awards. Way too early. Yeah.
All right, awards are running through classics. We're gonna cut out the fluff and just do the big ones. So we're gonna do like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, Rookie of the Year. Anything else I may be forgetting? Sixth Man,
Clutch,
the most important, the new MVP.
Coach of the Year
of Coach of the Year.
Well, that one's wrapped up, but it's Monty Williams.
Yeah, Clutch Player of the Year is kind of the equivalent of like winning the in-season tournament, but
GM of the Year
anyway. Teammate of the Year, which is apparently an award that Drew Holiday won last season. Not sure how new this award is, but apparently it's a thing.
It goes to the guy who gets the teammates, like he gets sponsored by Beats and then gets everyone a pair of headphones, and they drop a video like he's some altruistic like messiah.
It's like the Drake video for God's Plan.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Got you guys speakers. He's just handing them out in the locker room like, whoa. Anyway, MVP. I don't know. This segment should be, for me, I think a lot of these are kind of obvious, but we'll see. Maybe we have differing opinions. For me right now, my MVP is Joel Embiid. I think his stats have been ridiculous. The passing improved, the 35 points per game. Having him in fantasy, and actually real quick, there's this bullshit agenda that this guy, he's ducking good teams. It's a coincidence, I think. And I don't know, if you look at, he's been injured recently, like goddamn, like he's missed like 5 games in a row against some decent teams, true, but then earlier in the season, it's not like he's picking and choosing. He missed a couple games in a row, and it is what it is. So enough of the Joel slander. He's on my fantasy team, and I won't have it. And he's playing ridiculous. Like he averages like 160 fantasy points through the third quarter every game. That's really all I have to say. But the stats are absolutely ridiculous. I think he's averaging like 35 points.
Yep, that checks out.
How many assists? 12 boards.
Yeah, 35 points, 12 boards, 6 assists, 1.2 steals, and 2 blocks per game. So the stats are kind of ridiculous. He's also my pick, which is kind of funny because last year he did win the award. And there was a lot of talk last year that maybe it should have been Jokic. No one was really sure if he fully deserved it. Could have been narrative driven because people were a little unwilling to give Jokic his 3rd MVP in a row without winning a ring. And then Jokic went on to win a ring, so it kind of felt foolish for, not giving him the award. But I do think Embiid has fully deserved it this year and definitely, come into his own and really establish himself as the most dominant player this season.
Real quick, before you give your pick, Sean, you do have to play 65 games this year. I think it's that new rule, which, Embiid, I think, has missed 7 now. So
exactly
already,
what I was going to start with.
Yeah. So I think he has 10 more games he can miss before being ineligible. So that's worth monitoring. Guys like Jokic are gonna, that's not really as much of a worry for him.
Yeah, I think what's the word I'm looking for? Regrettably, Embiid would be my pick at this moment. I don't enjoy the way that he plays. And I
Foul
obviously
merchant,
as a Celtic,
ducks good teams. He's a foul merchant and he ducks
He,
good teams.
well, he is a foul merchant. That's like indefensibly true. But also, I don't think he ducks good teams, but he has played pretty poorly against good teams this year. When he's played the Celtics, when he's played the Bucks, most of the other good teams he's played this year have easily been his worst games. I'm gonna leave it at that. That being said, um, yeah, I will. It will be interesting to see what the games play. I really like that. First of all, that they do have that mandate now, because like I remember, well, last year it kind of got abused by Lillard because didn't he got to the games played thing to get like all NBA and then sat out the rest of the year or something.
I think it
I don't
was
know.
58 last year, and I think they bumped it to 65 to be eligible for any award or whatever.
Yeah, so I like that. I think that's really good, and that's how it should be.
Yeah. Good way to incentivize the good players to play as well. Like if you want to be in contention for MVP, like you need to play the games. You can't be intentionally resting. Like you need to be out there. But it gives the players enough of a buffer to, miss games when they actually have to.
Right. So yeah, I mean, he like despite all that, I mean, 35 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists is still like mind-numbing, like insane. He's shooting extremely efficiently. The Sixers have played significantly better through him this year. So like, yeah, it is kind of an obvious one, but between his play against good teams, not ducking good teams, I don't necessarily agree with that narrative, but I do. It is noticeable his play against good teams is far worse, and whether or not he stays healthy is really what it comes down to. Jokic has been obviously excellent as usual. Giannis is shooting 60% from the field this year, which is ridiculous, even as a guy that doesn't shoot, a lot of jumpers. He's like, I feel like the last couple of years for Giannis, he's sort of like played so excellently that people kind of forget how good he is. And it's like he doesn't even get like talked about in these conversations anymore. And it's like just a given. It's kind of like what LeBron was doing for so long, where it was like, not saying this is it's as crazy, but like there was a bunch of years where LeBron wasn't even in these conversations, and realistically, like he could have won MVP like 7 years in a row, and nobody would have been really able to disagree with that. So he's worth considering, and I think a couple honorable mentions would be Luka. Still, like every year, I feel like we have this conversation: is like he gonna get it this year? And he's been incredible again. Like he's averaging 34, like a near triple double. So he has to be talked about. Shea has been incredible. Last night's game was unfortunate as a Celtics fan, but like still a wicked cool game to watch. And then Tatum in the conversation on the fringes of it, more or less. But in the league, they should at least have a guy being.
Oh no.
Oh, we're back. We're back.
You-
Yeah, we lost you for a second, but there was one big name that I like that you didn't mention, so I'm gonna throw him out there. And Halliburton. Yeah, Halliburton's been having an awesome year. And to get a little head start on trivia, I have a trivia stat. He is currently averaging almost 13 assists per game. If he ended the season averaging this many assists per game, it would be the most since 1990. Who had more assists in 1990? Do y'all know?
Wait. Do you know, Sean? Are you frozen?
I have a pretty good guess.
Well, yeah, call it out. I'm
Stockton.
Yeah, Stockton. So Stockton averaged 14 assists per game in 1990. And yeah, if Halliburton ended the season averaging as many assists as he is right now, it would be the most since then, which is like actually insane. Like looking back, I kind of figured there would be somebody who had gotten up to 13 assists per game, maybe in like the early 2000s, like maybe like Chris Paul or something like that had done it, but like no one has like gotten closer. Like this is like the best point guard season we've seen in 3 decades. So it's kind of insane. He averages pretty much no turnovers, how many assists he has per game. The Pacers have been electric. he's insane to watch. So I love Halliburton right now. He's probably not going to get it just because there are so many players in the league right now averaging 30 plus points per game. And I feel like the MVP is going to go to one of those guys. Plus, the Pacers aren't like a top 3 team in their conference. I feel like you kind of have to be to get the MVP this year. But he's been incredible. I've loved watching him. So I want to give him a little shout out there.
I was looking at Rondo because I remember Rondo would have like 20 assist nights,
Dude, yeah.
but he never got past 12. He had a couple seasons where he had 11.7. Surprisingly on the Kings.
Yeah,
And
I saw a throwback stat line of him recently where it was like there was like the Pelican playoff game where he scored I think 2 points with 25 assists or something insane like that. Like he is like
you don't see that
an
anymore.
absolute point god. Yeah, there are very few players in the league that really like prioritize assists like that anymore. And Rondo is one of them. And like Halliburton's kind of like the new age of it where he does drop dimes like that. He just also can shoot the lights out. So he also gets 25 points per game. He's godly. He's amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely worth a shout out.
But yeah, to your point, Giannis, I feel bad for him because he quietly puts up the craziest stats and nobody really blinks an eye, which is weird because, yeah, I don't know. It's worth mentioning.
Yeah, I think he'll work his way into the MVP conversation again as the year goes. Like he started off a little bit slow, and so did the Bucks. I think as they integrated Lillard into the lineup, but
Just 31 points.
yeah, he's right back up to as good as he's ever been. So I think by the end of the year, like he'll be back up to like top 3 in voting. But there probably is a little bit of fatigue there with Giannis, which is weird to say because he's won the title as well. So he kind of has everything you're looking for with like the playoff success, the regular season success, scoring 30 plus points per game, super efficient, great defender. Like he does do it all. Like it's weird that he can't like work his way back in the conversation, but I think that also says a lot just about how incredible of a season Embiid is having, and that 35 points per game is just insane. Like unless somebody can get close, that's gonna be hard to give anybody else the award.
I think Luka could get close.
I think it's possible, yeah. And like the Mavs are really good. And like you definitely make the argument that the supporting cast isn't really there on the Mavs team right now. Like they do have Kyrie, but Kyrie has been missing a lot of games, and Luka has just been carrying them as of lately. And he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Probably having his best season ever.
Yeah, 9.5 assists and 33 points. Like Jesus Christ.
It's such a hard year to choose the MVP because there's so many people who are worthy this year, which is weird because I remember last year was very much like a 2-man race, and we were like, we wish we had like a couple more people in the conversation to consider, but it really was just like Embiid and Jokic.
Off the top of my head, I think I would go right now Embiid, Luka, then I'd probably go Jokic, then SGA, then Giannis. But I didn't think about it too much.
I'd probably do the same. I'd swap Giannis and SGA personally, but yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's some order there. I might put Jokic too, just because on my fantasy team. But yeah, I think any order there is perfectly fine.
All right, which award should we do next?
John, do you want to choose?
Yeah, sure. We could go to 6-man next.
This is a good one. This was kind of a tricky one. I think this one might be the most up for grabs out of all of them. I think there are a couple of people who are worthy. I was doing some research today though, and I think the person who I'm going with at least at this point of the year is Bogdan Bogdanovic on the Hawks. Do you think I said Bojan?
I thought you said
Pistons
Bojan.
winner. Pistons are getting all the awards. No, Bogdan is on the Hawks.
Coach of the year spoiler is Monty Williams.
Yes, naturally.
Oh my God.
Best coach in the league. Yeah, him and Steven Silas are just doing an awesome job with the Pistons.
Remember you guys mentioned
Fucking
that
hate
last time. That guy is a part of that disaster. Like, it just all makes sense.
Go figure. This coaching staff didn't work out. Yeah, I went with Bogdanovich though. He's like very sneaky, averaging 17.5 points per game off the bench for the Hawks. 38% from 3. He's been locked in. He had a 40 bomb recently where he just knocked in a ton of threes. He's been great for them. The Hawks haven't been great, but I think he's having a really good season. I think 17.5 points per game off the bench with good efficiency is I think that just gets you the award. Like I think that's just awesome. So he's who I have right now.
That's a
I kind of second it. We were talking a bit before the show. Harry brought up the name, and I was like, yeah, The odds right now, Austin Reeves has the best odds
I
for
hate that. I hate
Tim Hardaway Jr. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, Hardaway's missed some time also, and like he's also been starting recently because like Kyrie's been out, so I feel like his stats are a little inflated because of that. Reeves had a slow start to the year, so I don't know if I love that one.
But Cole Anthony's another name I would throw in the hat.
That's a really good one.
He has monster games off the bench, but he also like will start occasionally, and that's when he has his best games. And Naz Reid, I think, is worth a mention. He slowed down recently, but there was a while he was playing better than Cat off the bench. No longer, but
Naz Reid has had some awesome highlights too. Like he weirdly,
oh yeah,
he does not play how you'd expect, given he's a big man. Like his handle is amazing. Like he is really good off the dribble. It's super surprising.
He was part
Great
of the
athlete. The contract the Wolves gave him was awesome. Like that was such a good deal for that team.
Jelly Fam.
He was part of Jelly Fam. Yeah. He was like he was called like, they called him like Big Jelly, I think, because he was like the big man that could do all the Jelly Fam stuff.
That rocks.
Yeah, that's a big shout out. I really, really wanted the Celtics to trade for him. I mentioned that last year that I was hoping that the Celtics would make a move to try and get him because, yeah, to your point, the Timberwolves got him on an absolute bargain contract. He would have been like a perfect upgrade to Grant Williams, who he's been garbage this year. But my pick previously mentioned was Hardaway Jr., who I've previously been critical of. As we've had this conversation, and to your point, he's slowed down a bit as the year has gone on. I just checked; he's only started 4 games, so he actually has mostly, stayed true to the award and come off the bench. He's putting up 17.5 on decent efficiency, and the Mavericks are a much better team than like Atlanta, so. It's hard right now. There's a lot of like pretty solid role players. I mean, if the Celtics messed around with their rotations a little more and like Derek White came off the bench, he obviously he would win it immediately. I mean, he's borderline an all-star. In another,
we need to make up a separate award to somehow give it to Derek White.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like, it should be like best role player or something. It's like I don't know. It's like you just can't be like top 3 on your team in scoring or something like that. Yeah, he might be.
I wish
he's not, but he's close. Go ahead.
I was gonna say in our all-star selections, the last video we did, I was like, oh, I think another Celtic needs to get in. I'm torn between KP and Jaylen Brown, and somehow it went over my head. Derek White should be legitimately over KP and Jaylen Brown at this point. So I'm gonna leave that there. But yeah, because we could talk about Derek White for ages. That man is a beautiful man inside and out. He's such a special player.
Yeah, I think he'll get an all defensive first team at least this year. Like not only has been like amazing on offense with his scoring, his efficiency, rebounding, passing is good. Yeah, like and like all of his like on ball defensive stats are like insane. He's like holding people to like really low field goal percentages when he's guarding them. Like he's like the defensive efficiency for the Celtics is at its highest when he's on the floor. He's incredible. Like he's having an awesome year.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Derek White. Yeah, I think we can move on from 6-man. That one's definitely a little bit harder. There's a lot of like arguments to be made for a lot of guys. Like, yeah, Reeves is solid. Bogdanovich, Hardaway Jr. I think what it will honestly come down to is just like who is on the best team.
Yeah, and kind of like who maintains. Because Hunter's having 17.5 a game, which I did not realize. Like he actually is having an awesome year. But like maybe when Kyrie comes back, like maybe we see that go down a little bit. So I feel like a lot of time this does end up being just like a points per game award, just like who scores the most points off the bench. So we'll kind of see where things are at the end of the year. But if it is close and like Hardaway is still playing good for the Mavs, like maybe this is award. I don't know. Or maybe the Lakers fans and Lakers media does just overpower everything and somehow get the award to Austin Reeves.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I do have a mini shout out for. Speaking of the Mavericks, Dante Exum has been really good for them.
Yeah, he's been awesome. He's been
really good in Kyrie's absence, and him coming back from playing overseas for a few years and being a complete bust when he was on Utah, like to come back and just be solid as hell is like good for him. He's been great.
Yeah. Somebody this offseason may have mentioned that Dante Exum could be decent for the Mavericks.
I think you did.
I know I did.
I think I'm just throwing it out there. It might have been you.
I added him first in fantasy. That's all that really matters. I was the first to recognize that he was a valuable fantasy contributor, but I think it's more important than being an NBA contributor.
I actually just dropped him in fantasy, so
Fake fan.
grab him.
Yeah, and mini shout out to the Mavs too, because I definitely criticized their depth this offseason. And I was like, yeah, like Kyrie and Luke is an awesome duo, but I don't see a whole lot happening on this roster outside of them. And they did do like a pretty good job with their role players. Like Derek Lively was an awesome pick. He's been a perfect fit just as this kind of like, rim protecting big man, good pick and roll guy. Awesome contributor as a rookie because like a lot of the time, like, you don't get a center in the draft who's immediately ready to contribute. So he's been good. The Exum signing's been good. Hardaway's still been solid. Grant has been great, but he's still like decent filler for the money they're paying him. So they've been better than I expected. I didn't think they would be very good this year. So shout out to their GM and their roster construction. It's been pretty good, I think.
And ultimately, Luka is just fucking insane.
Yeah, he's a god.
He's
He can kind of carry any team, and the team is good
Yeah.
enough around him to where, they can still win a ton of games.
All right. Shall we move on to defensive player of the year? I feel like this one's between one or two guys.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it is. My pick here was Gobert. Pretty easily, like the Timberwolves are by far the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
He's leading the league in defensive rating. He's been incredible. Number 2 is Ant, just because he plays next to Gobert. Like his defense has been insane. It has been his entire career. Like he's always been a one-man defense. And although like last season was kind of a weird one for him, he's right back to how he was playing in Utah, and he's been incredible. So he's my pick. He's awesome. He's incredible.
He was giving Tatum some trouble. I mean, Tatum was dancing a little bit too much, and Ant was locking that shit down. But I'd give a little shout out to AD too. I think I'd put him over Ant as the second best odds. I think Gobert being such a good defensive player on such a good defensive team, kind of.
Yeah, best defender on the best defensive team with the best defensive rating, I think that's enough to kind of get him the award. Oh, are you muted, Sean?
Sean, we can't hear you. Oh no.
Bye, Sean. It's been real. All right, we're back. We just fired our producing intern for messing up the audio, but we are back. Sean, what is your take on defensive player of the year?
I mean, I don't have much more to contribute other than the fact that when Gobert is off the floor, it's like a 15-point swing. That says enough that
he's incredible.
Barring an injury, this one's kind of wrapped up already, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the only person I'd shout out for fun is like maybe SGA, who's averaging 2.6 steals per game, which is kind of insane. Like the next highest is Marcus Smart at like 2.1 per game. So he's averaging half a steal more than the next guy.
And Smart's missed like 10
And
games.
Chet's awesome.
Chet's also been insane. I mean,
We'll
Wemby's also averaging 3.1 blocks per game. I think I don't know if he like leads the league, but I think he leads out the league at least in blocks per game.
Yeah, him and Brooke.
He's also been insane. But obviously, like the Spurs have been bad, and like overall the Spurs defense is not that good, so you can't get it. But he does deserve a shout out, and like it is me cool to see how this race evolves over the next few years, because it feels like it could just be like a battle between like Chet and Wemby for like the next decade, which is gonna rock. Like they're gonna be so awesome to see. Like every time they're playing, like it's must-watch TV. They're awesome to watch on defense. If they ever get to meet in the playoffs someday, like that is going to be such an incredible series. So this is an exciting award. Like there are tons of really good young defensive players in the league right now. So there's going to be an interesting passing of the torch once Gobert does, inevitably slow down. But it doesn't seem like this is happening anytime soon. Like I still think this is his award again, and like could be the next few years.
Which we could transition into rookie of the year, which I think is obviously between Wemby and Chet. It seems it's kind of Wemby's been so dominant recently, and the stats kind of stand out a bit more, but one of those guys is winning it. Probably Wemby.
Yeah, I also think it's probably Wemby. It was Chet for a while though. Like we definitely gave Chet flowers early in the year. Like he was the front runner for like probably the first 2 months of the year, but I think Wemby has kicked it up to another gear as of lately, and he's just been so good on both ends of the floor. The scoring has just been incredible from him. So I think it's his, but I think Chet still is a good argument, and definitely the Thunder are a better team than the Spurs right now, and a big reason they are is because they just got Chet, who's amazing. So he still has an argument. I think he's still in the race, but as of now, I do lean towards Wembanyama.
Funny because Asar was kind of in the conversation, and he's fallen off a cliff. Poor guy.
Yeah, completely. But still an awesome prospect. Like very fun rookie class.
I believe he's airballed. Another fun trivia. Has he airballed more threes than made? The answer would be yes, I believe.
I think I saw him airball like 3 or 4 in one game. It was the most I've ever seen in a game. Like it might be the most ever. I don't know. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if I can look that up. Y'all keep talking, but let me see.
Jesus Christ, that is unfortunate. Yeah, the rookie of the year one's interesting because like part of me honestly kind of thinks Chet deserves it. I mean, he's shooting 54% from the field. He's on the better team, which does help to an extent in that like he can afford to take probably better quality shots. He's shooting 40 from 3 with on 4 attempts a game. Like these are incredible numbers. I think that it honestly, like if this was any other year, like if Wemby was like, I don't know, let's say like DeAndre Ayton, like Chet would probably get this, but because it's Wemby, and I'm not taking away from him. I mean, 3 blocks a game as a rookie. I don't care how tall you are. That's still incredible to then go along with 18 and 10. Like he absolutely, like if he gets it, it's not like total BS, but part of me kind of thinks that it would be very nice for this player who's touted as the next, great thing in the NBA, supposed to succeed LeBron as the face of the league. Like, would be nice if he starts his career out with a Rookie of the Year award. That's all I'm going to say. And I think that the narrative for him will not to say he doesn't deserve it, but like if it comes down to like it's like a close race, it'll go to Wemby just for that alone.
For sure. Yeah.
Kind of tough, but like not taking away from him again, like he's been great. Spurs team absolutely sucks, and if it wasn't for the fact that the Pistons are as miserable as they are, they'd be getting a lot more flack, even for the fact that they're deploying rookies and young players. It's kind of unacceptable how bad they are.
Yeah, it is disgusting. Huge sign up, and then I want to rant about the Pistons also because
we will get to the Pistons. Yeah.
I couldn't find exactly like most air balls in a game by a player, but I was able to find it for free throws. I don't even know if this is true because like the stats are so high, but according to StatMuse, like the most airballed free throws in a game is by Adrian Dantley, who airballed 28 in a game. I don't know how that's possible. I kind of feel like this is wrong, but it is what it says.
No, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, there's most free throws in a game. I said airball. Okay, yeah, that's wrong. Ignore it.
StatMuse, fuck you.
StatMuse sucks. Pistons though.
Wizards are better. Wizards are better. I've been saying it.
The Wizards are better. I still don't really know how because I still think the Pistons
like saying like
more talent.
Pissing your pants is better than shitting your pants. Like they're both pretty bad.
Shitting is objectively worse though, and the Pistons are objectively worse.
The Pistons are objectively worse. Like
sure, but it's
bad analogy, Sean. Shitting is way worse.
The Pistons probably need their own episode just for that like losing streak alone. But yeah, they're a total embarrassment to the league. They suck. And I do like the take that this could still be Chet's award thanks to his efficiency and like how good just the Thunder have been with him. So I still think it's a race. And we'll kind of see who gets it at the end of the year, but
because what Wemby's doing is so incredible, but like he's very raw. Chet coming off that injury, fitting into a system, and just being like the second biggest contributor is really, really impressive. Almost more impressive in a way than Wemby, who's kind of just I don't want to say stat padding, but like he's on such a bad team and he can just kind of do what he will. Chet is contributing on a very good team and system and finding his spots and doing his thing. So it should be a close race, and I'd be happy with either of them winning. They're both levels above the next rookie. So
yeah, and I think you probably also argue that if Chet was on the Spurs and Wemby was on the Thunder, like Chet would probably score way more. Like he is playing next to SGA, who's averaging like 31 points per game or something insane like that. So he's getting like so many less touches than Wembanyama, and still putting up the numbers that he is. So that's really impressive. Not to mention he's also playing next to like J-Dub and a bunch of other young and up and coming guys. So
the Giddler.
We
don't speak of the Giddler. But yeah, I think both are amazing. This is a really fun Rookie of the Year race this year. Because sometimes it's not quite as exciting. So this is a good one. This is a Rookie of the Year race for the ages right now.
Yeah. Chet outplayed Porzingis arguably in the second half of the game last night. I mean, He was the best player in the second half of last night's game.
Chet is so
Shea-
good. Like Chet's one of those guys. Like when you talk about like starting a franchise building blocks, like he would be up there for guys to take. Like
Oh,
there's not a ton of players in the NBA right now that I'd rather have over Chet.
yeah.
He's probably like top like 20. He's probably the top 30, I would say. Top 30 players I'd want. Like I can say that like fairly confidently.
I mean, depending on like the perspective you're looking at it from, like if you're looking at it from like building from like a team you want in the next 5 to 10 years, he'd be like probably top 5. But yeah, as like in turn, I know what you mean. Like right now, based
Yeah,
on
I'd be like right now top 30. If you want to say like start your franchise, then like yeah, maybe he is top 10.
yeah, no, I hear you. I'm still laughing at you saying the Pistons are an embarrassment to the league.
It is insane.
Because
how
it's like
bad they
beyond
are.
just being like a bad team or the worst team in the league that year. It's like historically embarrassing.
Yeah, like they legitimately might be worse than like the Bobcats, who literally had to like rebrand their entire organization because they were so bad that they had to essentially just like dismember the franchise and start again. Like that's where the Pistons are at right now. Like they might need to throw the franchise in the trash.
I
Like,
think-
they are so bad.
Sean, you used the word unacceptable. I think just
It is
unacceptable.
though, because like the thing with that, I know it's a little bit of a tangent, but I do feel like it's worth going into a little bit. Is like when you look at a team like San Antonio, even like that's a disaster in the sense that like they're playing horribly this season, and to be honest, like I think they should be a little better, even though it's Wemby's rookie year and all that. But like this is year 1 of that team, and that's more or less acceptable. Pistons are in year 3 of this rebuild, like borderline year 4, depending on the way you want to look at it. And it's like, really, like, not like where do you go from here? Because there's like talk they may end up trading Cade. I mean, like they have assets; they're not like
Yeah, I think-
screwed, but like, where do you go from here?
Yeah.
I think I don't think it's as bad as it looks. I think Duran's missed a lot of time, and he's an excellent young prospect.
Yeah.
Cade is incredible. They
I'm not
really,
even, yeah, I don't even disagree. I don't think that like I don't think they necessarily should trade him, but it's almost kind of like they like have that taste in their mouth now. Like this is the guy that was the front of the worst team in NBA history. Like
yeah.
that's hard to
I
like
think-
run it back.
I think they could scrap together some wins and not be the worst team ever. But with Bojan back, there's a little bit of hope. So I think not all is lost for the Pistons, but that losing streak was unacceptable.
Yeah, and it's weird that they're so bad, even like with the pieces they do have. Because I do think Cade is good. I think Ivy is still pretty decent. It's kind of like insane how much his minutes have fluctuated. I don't know why Monty and Silas like love singling out, one of their top prospects and being like, "You need to earn it. You have to come off the bench. Like you have to play behind Bruno Fernando." Disgusting. Those coaches love it though. So that's kind of happening to Ivy right now. It is weird because like it kind of feels like you can't get any wins with this team right now. Will you ever be able to do it? That's how it feels. But I mean, like the good news is like they're so bad that they're probably going to get a top 3 pick. Well, they're definitely getting a top 3 pick unless the lottery screws them. So in theory, they can just get top 3 picks for the next decade, and like eventually, like they have to just land somebody who's good enough to carry them to some wins. So at least they still have all their picks. Like I think eventually they'll put it together and they can get a good forward in the draft. Like I think they can start building towards something, but it does feel like they are kind of in no man's land if they can't. I don't know. It is starting to feel like they'll never be able to get wins, but in theory, like they have to eventually, just not this year.
Cade and Duran are awesome, man. Cade and Duran are
Yeah, their
awesome.
duo. Duran is like already incredible. Like I think he's already at a point where if he can stay healthy, he's kind of like a near all-star guy if the wins can come with it.
Just get Silas as far away from the court as humanly possible. Okay, Monty
Yeah.
Williams I think could be redeemable, but Steven Silas, the crimes against humanity he committed last year in Houston, like oh my god, like
It's insane how much
So
better they are without
bad.
him. And it was so evident the entire season that the second they got Silas out of Houston, that they were going to be better. And everybody knew it. And what do you know? They're so much better without him. And I think even without the signings they made this offseason, they were going to be so much better without him. They literally just had to give Şengün the ball, and they're doing that now. And they're super. Not only are they pretty decent, but like they're fun to watch now, which is awesome.
So
That's
fun.
something that's been pretty fun for me is like you guys put me on to Şengün a couple years ago before he like got really good. So that's like he's your guy in that sense. But like
We
I've
can share him.
He's our guy.
Anybody is welcome to join the Şengün bandwagon, and
Yes.
I think you can still get in early on him because like his
Yeah.
All-Star campaign hasn't even started yet. So like
Yeah.
you're not getting in like super early on Bitcoin, but you're still getting in like well above the ceiling.
Well, that's what I mean is like you guys were in like, you know, when Bitcoin was still being like created as an asset. I was there like
I was watching Turkish highlights of him. I was like, this guy's a fucking stud.
Before he made his NBA debut, Harry had sent me his highlights in the Turkish league. I kid you not.
Yeah.
We found the text. And yeah, so I think Harry officially did put me on, but I think then I was watching him a bit more in summer league, and I was like, yeah, this guy's incredible.
Yeah, you were flag bearing for him. And that was like, yeah, that was probably like a year and a half ago when you guys put me onto him. And then all of last year, I kind of started hyping him up to a bunch of my other friends, and they were kind of like, you're full of shit. The Rockets suck, all that stuff. And now this year, like, he's averaging 20 and 10. Like, he's been really good. Borderline all-star, won't make it this year. He'll be one of the top snubs, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But he's been really good. And now some of my friends are kind of like, holy shit, like this Şengün guy is really good. And it's like, I'm happy for you guys that you found him as early as you did, because that's such a fun feeling when you can like catch a player like when they were, you know, before they made it.
I think though, like being Turkish and you know, that's a massive country, obviously. I think maybe he could get like weirdly a ton of votes and make his way in. Maybe not this year, but like I remember Zaza nearly making it when the entire country of Georgia voted for him, and Georgia's a tiny country in like Eastern Europe. So if Turkey, which is like a huge country, decides to except I think they made it like a holiday in Georgia. They really went all out to send Zaza. So
this is gonna transition well though to most improved. Let's part two this and then rip most improved before we may continue talking about the Rockets a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing. Şengün most improved. We'll be right back.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for part two of the pod. We were just talking about the Rockets and Alperen Şengün, and we're gonna transition to most improved. So enough teasing. He was my pick for most improved. He's been awesome this year. You know, not only like has more opportunity opened up for him on this Rockets team under Ime, which has helped his stats, but he has like legitimately improved. Like he's turning the ball over less this year, and his defense has been awesome, which was kind of the big question mark, was could his defense get good enough to keep him on the floor for a full game? And not only is good enough, but he's like somewhat of a plus defender at this point. He's got a little bit of sneaky athleticism that helps him out. So he's having an awesome year. I think he's a borderline all-star. And although there are a couple other players who are, I think, worthy of the award, he's my pick, and I love him. So I'm going with Alperen.
Me too. And it's biased, but I think he has the best case. There are so many players who have taken incredible leaps. Barnes, I think, would be my second pick, with just the leap in shooting, like actually insane. And it seems legit, but I think he improved his shooting by like 10% or something absolutely insane. Maxey, Halliburton, all worth mentioning as well. But Şengün, I love him so much. Yeah, sneaky athleticism. The guy puts people on posters. He can jump out of the gym. Like he really is one of the better dunkers in the NBA. I mean, Zach Collins, rest in filth to him. Last year, I think it might have been called a charge.
They did call like a BS like offensive foul on it, but it was literally just like
one of the most insane posters I've ever seen.
Absolutely obliterated him. Like
twice, I think.
Yes, his quads do work because he's a big boy and he doesn't look like he can jump, but he certainly can. And his highlights are like incredible. Like when you watch him, you can just tell this guy's an absolute stud. Passing's amazing. Best post moves in the league. His shoulder shimmies are immaculate. He's amazing. So he's my pick, Paul's pick. What about you, Sean? As the owner of him in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I gotta go with him. Although I will say, it's close between him and Barnes. I think Halliburton, like, I don't know if he's eligible for it anymore. And I mean, it's crazy
Yeah,
to say. It's like,
to me, Halliburton's like one of those guys that's just like he's too good to get into the race.
yeah, which so I like still worth mentioning, but yeah, I think he's kind of too good. Another one that's like borderline kind of too good that's fallen under the radar, who's actually been really good this season, is Desmond Bain.
Yeah.
He deserves at least a minor shout out. He's up to 25 points per game on really good efficiency. Granted, that Grizzlies team sucks, but he's trying his hardest in Memphis to help them out. Another guy who who was I gonna say? Just had him in my head.
Is it Kobe White?
Kobe White was my
It
like
literally was Kobe White. Yeah. You just
He's
read my
he's an
mind.
awesome. He's a player I think would have had like a really good shot at the award a lot of other years, but the class is like a little too stacked for him to get it this year. But
Yeah.
really
Def-
really interesting storyline because like a lot of people are kind of thinking like does he still have like a role on this rebuilding Bulls team? Would he have a role anywhere? Like is he a real NBA player? And then he
Yeah.
comes into this year and he's balling out. The Bulls are having their best games with Zach LaVine out and Kobe White in. This one they're winning the most. Super efficient, like incredible 3-point shooter, really fast, good point guard, good team player. And yeah,
Yeah.
he's been incredible. He's been like a plus NBA player for the first time in his career, and he's just been awesome.
Yeah, he's in that. And this is kind of the nature of what we're doing right now, where we're predicting all this stuff super early. It's not even like halfway through the season. He'll be one to really watch in the latter half of the season. And spoiler for anybody watching, you should try and get him in fantasy before Levine and DeRozan are inevitably traded from Chicago, unless they continue to be complete dolts and not do anything, which is very possible. But
Extremely possible.
Totally.
like
I have a
he
separate
could.
take on that for after.
Oh yeah, no, would love to hear that. But like I'm he's one that I've been monitoring the whole season, seeing how he progresses. Just because I feel like once they cut loose some of those guys, very similarly to what happened with Maxey in Philadelphia this year, where like once that roadblock in front of him being Harden moved on, it was like he got the reins to do more or less whatever he wanted. I'd be very curious to see now with that added confidence and freedom to do whatever he wants. Like, could Kobe White be putting up like 20, 22 a game? Not saying he would be able to do that like season over season for a good team, but like, that would be a big freaking improvement.
I think he could.
Yeah, I mean, if you move him from like he's literally like the fifth scoring option on that team right now, behind like Levine, DeMar, Vooch. I guess he'd be four then, but like still he's like way down there the pecking order, averaging 17 and a half points per game. Like I imagine like you just get rid of two of those guys, that scoring goes way up.
Oh yeah, and
And
Caruso's gone too. Like he's getting traded, so
yeah, and then get value from him.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting with him, and like what helps his case a ton is they averaged 9.7 points per game last season, so he's almost doubled his scoring output, which is incredible, and like definitely is what this award is all about. It's like who has improved the most from the season before, and like he certainly has. So
Yeah.
I think he's worthy. And then like my mini Bulls tangent was going to be that I saw a report I think just a couple of days ago that like Lonzo Ball no longer has knee pain anymore.
I saw that too.
He
Yeah.
is like progressing, so I'm a little worried now that the Bulls are gonna be like, oh, but now we have Lonzo coming back, so let's keep these pieces for one more year to see if we can make it happen. Which would be the worst thing ever for them to do because they suck,
Yeah.
but also their management is terrible and they might opt to do something like that.
Yeah, they're in a really shit position now too because Levine has been so bad, and when he's playing, I mean, he's been hurt most of the season, but when he has played, he's been terrible.
Yeah, someone will take him, I think, though, but they won't get much. I think they'll just get like a first round pick and like maybe some expirings or something like that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like they had that opportunity last season when they absolutely should have pulled the trigger then. Traded at minimum him, and I feel like did they re-sign Vucevic this offseason too, right? Like they gave him another contract, which was just nonsense.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the Vooch contract because I think it was decent value. I think it was like 3 years, 90 million. So I think he's getting like 30 million a year. So I think it's at least like a somewhat tradable contract.
Yeah,
And eligible to trade him, but What sucks is
still
like
like-
DeRozan's expiring though, so they can't really get anything from him. Levine is down, won't be able to get a ton from him either. So they can't get a ton, but I think it is time for them to clean house. And then if Lonzo does come back next season, he's decent. Like, cool, they can either use him as part of the rebuild or get some more assets out of him. But Chicago, please just don't keep this team together. Like, please just strip it apart.
Have mercy on your fans.
Sell it for parts. Take it to the scrapyard.
Yeah, for
Take it out back. Just put it down.
Get out back, yeah.
You have to put it out of its misery. The poor fans, the poor players too. Like the vibes are just so bad. What are
Yeah.
we talking about?
most improved. Yeah, I mean, anything else we want to say about most improved? I think, I don't know. I'll look at the odds real quick. I think Franz, I don't think he's improved as much. Cam Thomas had a great start to the year, but he's fallen off a cliff.
Yeah,
And then I think we've mentioned Anthony Simons. I think
hasn't quite played enough. I don't think.
anyway. That leaves us with clutch player, which I honestly, who cares, right?
No,
I mean, I care a lot, and it's huge, but it's just at this point, I don't think there's been enough games played or whatever. I'm just gonna say SGA. We'll pull it out. I could just see him hitting some huge game winners.
sure.
And then coach of the year, fuck it. I'll just say Ime. I think the huge improvement of the Rockets, and I think he's been behaving himself behind the scenes from what it seems. So coach of the year.
I mean, you know my opinion on Ime. I'm gonna leave it there, but
Yeah.
I hate to say this as a long time. Well, I guess I don't hate it. It's just more surprising as a longtime critic of the Orlando Magic as a franchise. But I really do think Vaughn, he's got to be.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
he's awesome.
He's been great. I mean, their defense is incredible. The fact that they're like solidly a playoff team at worst is something that I really didn't think I would find myself saying even this year, maybe even next year. So credit to him for sure. Who is the coach of the Wolves too? I think he's got to at least be in the conversation.
White guy.
Yeah,
I
that's
forgot.
Chris Finch. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Chris Finch had on my list. Magic kind of went over my head, but I think that's a good one because I think as far as like
Jamal Mosley.
what was expected out of the team, and then where they've ended up so far, I think either like the Magic or the Wolves have been the biggest surprises with how good they've been. So I think both of those coaches are super worthy. I also had Mark Dagnall, who's the Thunder coach.
Yeah.
Thunder
Yeah.
have been incredible, and I thought he had a good case to win it last year, and he didn't. So I don't mind just nominating him again because I think he's super worthy. I think the Thunder have been incredible. And I love how he schemes up their offense and defense. Like they're so good, and I think like the coaching is a big part of why they have been so good. Not only just like the awesome pieces they have.
Yeah, the NBA, especially the last few years, I feel like likes to go in the direction of like a team that either was outright bad the year before or was like fine and then jumps into this like kind of darling like first year as a real contender type team. Like when Malone won it a couple years ago, it was like Denver's first year of like, oh, you guys are for real now. Okay. Last year, the Kings like make all this noise, and granted that was even more so because they also just been worthless for the majority of our lives. It doesn't necessarily like it's not going to go to Maz. It's not going to go to with Adrian Griffin. He's the
Yeah.
Bucks coach.
It's
not going to go to that.
Yeah, you have to have like a pretty historic season as like a top seed. I feel like to get it. Although I don't think like Missoula should be like entirely out of the conversation. Even though, like,
I don't
like. I still don't totally love Missoula's vibes. But the team has been really good. Like the offense he's put together is actually really good, and it is completely different from the Ime offense. So he has had a lot of like input on this team's success, and they have been really good. So
yeah,
maybe in the conversation, but not. I still kind of want to see more of the Celtics team. It is still very fresh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, my clutch player of the year is Jordan Poole. I think his winning and his efficiency has just been off the charts. So he's my pick.
Sean, name a clutch player.
I would have probably said SGA too, but
All right.
fuck. Yeah.
Trivia?
Maybe Killian Hayes.
Probably not actually, interestingly enough.
He's been very clutch for the tank though.
Wasn't on my list. Derek White. Well, this is
Honestly,
the
like
question.
a fine
Wait a
pick.
minute.
yeah.
A fine
Yeah,
pick.
what?
Like Derek White.
This is
incredible
like
pick.
unironically actually not a debate. Like
We should nominate Derek White for every.
He
award.
actually
He
has
legit
been.
as a case.
last night
Yeah.
he hit the 3-pointer like to bring us only down by 1. Like he does that shit every night. He actually would like legitimately be in that conversation. That's like not me being a homer. That is straight up true.
Yeah, no, I kind of forgot.
Clip
But then
this,
it's
like
lost
that,
out.
like Derek White, clutch player of the year, being said January 3rd, 2024. That is like that's not a debate.
I like my pick better.
All right.
Trivia time.
Okay. So plot twist, we're not even doing trivia. It's-
Dude, you said trivia.
I know. Okay, I have to reach here.
Baited.
I know. It's just this little game I saw these guys doing on TikTok. Shit, where is it? I think it's this. No, that's all the answers.
All right.
Oh.
I just read all of the answers.
No,
Here we
come
go.
on.
Here we go.
Okay. So basically I'm going to show you a picture and it's got 2K ratings of a starting lineup, right? It's going to show the point guard, the shooting guard, small forward, everyone's
Kinda like
ratings.
this.
And you have to tell me which team it is.
Yep.
And yeah, just the first person to call it out. I think it's going to take some time to really think about it. Maybe I'll include some clues.
I would like to say earlier, should we save our answers and kind of say them at the same time?
No, I think first person to call it out, because I
Okay.
think it's going to take a little bit for you guys to recognize it.
I don't know. I kind of doubt it. Let's see.
All right. Well, it's going to be hard. How do I show you at the same time? Like,
Let's give it like a grace period of like 10 seconds. So then, like, because you can kind of show me, show Sean, we'll give it a couple of seconds,
okay.
let him marinate, and then fair game.
I actually don't even know what the first team is. Okay.
Ready? I'm not cheating right now, John. I'm not looking early.
I believe you. There's integrity on this.
Ready?
pod.
I guess I'm just going to show it to the
Yes, sir.
camera and then quickly to Harry. But this is it. Can we see that?
Yeah, I can kind of see it at the same time. Yeah, too. Let's see. It's like everybody's around an 80.
So we have an 83 overall point guard. And again, these are the 2K ratings. Do I necessarily agree with all of them? No. 82 shooting guard, 80 small forward. You got an 80 overall power forward. And an 85 overall center. So just wanna
Can
make
I-
sure.
Can I guess who I think it is?
I think I've got a potential guess as well, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm like sold on it.
Do we each get like one guess and then you tell us who it is if we're both wrong?
Yeah, sure.
Let me let it marinate a second longer, but I think
You can look. Everyone can see it.
I know I know what I'm gonna go with.
All right. Who do you think it is?
Uh,
All right, what's your guess, Sean?
I think it's
you guys-
Houston.
Oh, that was also gonna be my guess.
Which that's your
I
guess?
was gonna guess Houston as well.
It is the Houston Rockets.
Nice. Let's go.
Fred VanVleet's underrated.
Right? An 83 for Fred VanVleet is criminal.
An
And, like, who's, like,
85 for Sengun is like worthy.
Yeah,
of
I agree. And then like
25
who's
from
the
life.
80 small forward? Is that Dylan Brooks?
Jabari Smith.
Yeah,
he's
it's
gonna-
Dylan Brooks and Jabari
Yeah,
Smith.
because Jabari would be the power forward, and they're both 80. Yeah, I know.
Jabari's the power forward.
Yeah, like if I was doing like the Rockets, I think I'd probably have like Şengün at like an 88, maybe like Van Fleet 87.
And these are updated. I literally went on the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, and maybe I'd say like Brooks would be like a 78. Jalen Green's probably also like a 77. He has not been as efficient this year.
He can be an
No,
80.
it sucks.
But Fred VanVleet, man, he's at least an 85, 86.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
incredible.
Jabari and 80 I like though. Jabari Smith is like sneaky having a really good year. There's just a lot of talk around the Rockets and like Şengün and Van Fleet, so he gets lost in the mix a little bit, but he's like sneaky been really good this year.
Absolutely.
Wow, I'm impressed. I don't think I would have been good at this game. All right.
Everyone sleeps on Şengün but us. I knew as soon as I
Even
saw the
2K
85
even
center,
2K
I was
seems
like,
criminal.
bunch of idiots.
And 83 for Fred is like crazy. Like he's
That's
having
that's like
better.
offensive.
Like-
yeah.
Like whatever his peak was on the Raptors, like he's still at it on the Rockets right now.
He's having the best like passing season of his whole career. It's
Yeah.
like it's yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, having him and Jalen Green about the same rating right now is insane because they are not contributing in the same way. This
Well, one of them contributes and one of them doesn't. That's really what it comes down.
not according to 2K. All right, what's next?
All right. Number 2. Can we see that in the
Yeah,
camera?
what? So it's an 80 overall point guard, 18 overall shooting guard. I assume that's an 80. It's an 81. It's just backwards from
Oh,
the camera.
okay. You scared me. 81 overall shooting guard, 86 small forward, 86 power forward, 81 overall center. So a
I think I
good
got it.
center, power forward. Okay, Sean.
All right. wait, let's see this.
Good
Let's
forward
see.
duo.
Yeah, two
Let Harry
good forwards.
Take a look.
It was really hard.
You want to take a look again, Sean? Or you got it.
I think I know who it is.
The 81 at center is tripping me out.
Should I let Sean
Yeah, let Sean go first.
go ahead, Sean?
Well, no, I'll let because I'm certain of who I think it is, whereas Harry.
Well,
doesn't.
fuck it. Say it out loud and you would
Wait,
get the
wait, no,
point.
I don't mind going first.
All right, I think it's the Magic.
That's what I was also gonna say.
It is not the Magic.
Fuck. Because the 81 at center was tripping me out. I was like, I could see from.
I like Wendell
picture
Carter
he
Jr. though.
uses- Yeah, but like, I feel like Wendell's like a 75. I don't know. Hold on, let's let this marinate the long. So what? Two good forwards.
Toronto.
Yes.
Wow. Good guess.
Wow, Sean. It is the new look Toronto Raptors with Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett starting, and then Scotty and Pascal are those
Ah,
86
Is
overalls.
Pirtle an 81?
I guess so.
Okay. 2K ratings are so weird, man.
I feel like he's maybe more of a 78, but
Yeah, Jakob Pertl being like 2 spots lower than Fred Van.
Yeah, it's insane that 2K has every single starter on the Raptors over an 80.
All
by the
right.
way, I gotta find the guys that did this on TikTok and shout them out because I'm totally stealing their idea, like
No, it's great idea. Those
verbatim.
Yeah.
Sean, impressive. Okay. Moving on to number 3. And actually, let me just check real quick to make sure I know who it is. Okay. Number 3, we have a 95 overall point guard. It's in the frame.
Yep.
86 shooting guard, 76 small forward, 96 overall power forward, 81 center. I think this one's kind of tricky because
I think I've got it.
okay. Give it a few more seconds, and then I say Harry can give his guess. What do we think, Sean? Is this ringing any bells? It's a weird one.
I think I got it.
I'll say, okay. I won't give a clue yet.
Harry can guess first though.
Go ahead, Harry.
It's kind of a weird one because the Sender's throwing me off a little bit. Lakers though.
Harry says Lakers. Sean?
Phoenix.
And Sean's got it. This
That's
is
a good
the
one.
Phoenix
Yeah, that makes
Suns
sense.
with Booker starting at point guard and Kevin Durant in the power forward slot. I think Grayson Allen is that 76.
Yeah, that
Yep.
makes sense.
And then you've got Beal and Nurkic. Jesus Christ, Sean.
Good rip. Good rip.
Unfortunately or fortunately, I watch a disgusting amount of Western Conference basketball because I'll just put it on at night and I watch all these like horrible like Jazz Clipper games, and I've seen all of the different matchup or lineup combinations recently. So like Devin Booker at point guard is fresh in my mind.
Yeah, well, if I was playing right now, I think I'd be horrible. I don't know. It just doesn't work for my brain, but all right. I think the score would be like 3-1.
I think Sean's up a bucket on me right now.
I think he's up 2.
Yeah, who was the second one?
The Raptors.
Oh yeah, Sean didn't call that. Yeah. All right, 3-1.
I think you both got the Rockets, but all right. We'll go number 4. Let me refresh to see.
Come back time. Let's go.
All right. Is this in frame? 86 overall point guard, a 75 overall shooting guard, 88 small forward, 91 power forward, rounding out with an 81 overall center.
These are hard. Maybe I'm not cut out for these.
Do we have any guesses? Play along at home.
I have a guess.
You can shout it if you
Yeah,
want.
let it fly.
Is it the Clippers?
It is the
Let's
Clippers.
fucking go.
Clippers were who I
I
would.
couldn't even think of who the starting shooting guard is for them right now. I'm not even totally sure.
So I guess James Harden's an 86. Seems a bit low.
Did feel a little bit low. I imagine that'll kind of go up as the year goes.
Shooting guard, I think it was Terrence Mann, but I'm sure Norman Powell is a similar rating. And then you got PG.
PGY. Yeah, I was gonna say Clippers too, but I was like slightly unconfident in the fact that Zubac is a fucking 81. That's
kind of gross.
like untrue.
They're very generous with their ranking.
He's been playing really well recently, but a bit high.
But I feel like if you're like over an 80, it means like you're above average at the position. Like, because I feel like 75 is average. Like, I say like well above average if you're an 81. And I'd say Zubac's like is average. I would say he's like a 75, 76.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using once again the fact that Van Fleet is an 83. Like Zubac is not 2 notches lower of a player.
Yeah, and I think Zubac is probably more comparable to like a Norman Powell kind of player rather than Fred.
This is Terrence Mann though. Maybe Norman Powell.
Sure. Yeah, maybe Norman's like a 78 or something, but there's no way he's
probably not though. Yeah, it's weird, but Zubac has been playing well recently. Just saying, he's not an 81, but he had like a 20 rebound game. Anyway, last one. I think to tie it, you can either tie it or Sean can secure the victory.
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh wait, I gotta remember who it is. Okay. Whoa. At a 92 overall point guard, an 80 overall shooting guard, 85 small forward, 86 power forward, and a 73 overall center.
Brutal center position.
Brutal center position.
All right, so such a good point guard, small forward, power forward.
Yeah.
Really good point guard, though.
One of the best.
The Warriors?
Sean says the Warriors. That's a great guess. It is not the Warriors.
Is it?
No, that was like I guessed that too fast. I know it's not the Warriors.
Thunder?
Harry says the Thunder. It is not the Thunder.
Yeah, the center.
All right, first person to say it. You guys are in the correct conference.
Thanks. I need like the standings in front of me. All right.
Make sure if you have it at home, comment it down below. Hit the subscribe button.
This is great podcasting right now. Okay.
Do I give another clue or do I just let it simmer?
I feel like should we pull up the standings? Would that help? It would help me. I know that much.
You guys, Sean, what do you think? Do you have are you able to?
It's Memphis.
Whoa, it is Memphis.
Right, it's Memphis.
Incredible, Sean. Yeah, you've got Ja, obviously. And then I believe Bismack Biyombo would be that 73.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think the 80 is?
I guess the 80's
Smart.
Marcus Smart.
It is our boy Marcus Smart. And then you've got
Yeah.
Desmond and.
Oh, yeah, that is weird. Yeah, the new look starting lineup right now because I feel like Bane's been a guard all season.
I did try to throw you guys off with like the Raptors, the Grizzlies, kind of some new look lineups, but.
That was good.
Wow, Sean.
Well done, Sean. I'm glad you secured the win instead of us ending in a tie. I feel like that would have been anticlimactic for the listeners.
Anticlimactic, yeah. Well, I'll throw my trivia question in to end
Sure.
off. So, in the course of NBA history, there's been a lot of expansion teams that have moved around. There's only 2 teams in NBA history who, from the inception of the league, have stayed in their respective cities. Who are the 2 teams?
I mean, one's got to be Boston.
One is the Celtics.
Celtics.
Okay.
The second one is the hard one. Since their inception in the league have stayed. Okay.
And it's not. I guess
there's a lot of teams that.
Yeah, I won't say anything. I'll let you guys figure it out.
I feel like the Pacers haven't moved.
So, I guess I kind of do have to give the.
Yeah, there's a caveat here. You're not giving us.
It's not. I think it's no expansion teams. I think it's only original NBA teams. So like the Heat wouldn't count. The Magic wouldn't count.
Right. I assume Clippers wouldn't count. What about
the Clippers? The Clippers were an original team, but they've moved multiple times.
What about the Pistons?
Not correct.
Have they moved? I feel like they're such a Detroit team.
I have two good guesses. I think I have two really good guesses.
Okay,
You
yeah.
got, yeah.
I think it's either the New York Knicks, because what other team is called the Knickerbockers, or it's got to be the Atlanta Hawks.
You are correct. It was the Knicks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There we go. Everybody got a win in trivia then today. That's perfect.
Except for me. Fuck.
No, you got a win though. You got a couple points though. Is what I mean.
That's
Like,
not a win.
It's not a win.
everyone gets a participate. Here's a little participation trophy for.
I don't want your participation trophy.
I wanna show off
You're
my
tempting
trophy.
Paul to break out the championship trophy too. Now we're not doing that. The fans have already seen it.
It's sitting up there.
I'll show it off again once I win this season.
Dundee Award. Oh,
From The Office.
from The Office. Great show. Far better than Parks and Rec. Cena, if you're listening, I know that you're trying to make that a hot take. It's not. Parks and Rec is not close to The Office. The Office is far better. Anyway, very fun episode. From our no, the trade reaction was the episode before. But we talked awards and we did some trivia. I'm hoping you guys played along at home. It's been a fun time. It's been a long time. We've been podcasting for a couple hours now. So with that, does anyone have any final words or want to sign us off? Sean, please thank us for allowing you to be on the show again.
Yeah, don't forget
Thank
to be
you
your
for.
host.
I do really appreciate the opportunity to come on again. It's definitely it's been really fun to do this with you guys this season. Shengun is he's the official mascot of the pod now. I feel like, and I think Derek White should get serious MVP consideration, and that's where I'll leave it at.
Well, thank you for joining us again, Sean. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This has been very fun. It's been a great day. The IRL podcast has been magnificent. So hopefully get to do some more of them in the future. But obviously, it is a little bit of a trek out here, even with the private jet. So we'll see. But thank you as always for tuning in. Let us know if you like trivia. We might try to do more of it. I thought it was super fun. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Do the love, do the heart. Yeah, thank you.